does that even mean, Bauer's Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today I'm very excited to check out Star Realms Colony Wars from White Wizard Games. It's for 2 players. It's taking about 20 minutes to play. It's for ages 12 plus. Now, this is the first big box, quote-unquote, expansion to Star Realms, the immensely popular deck builder game. This is its own standalone game, but you can also implement it as an expansion. But is it good? Does it recreate the magic of the original game? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get instead of Star Realms Colony Wars. So first and foremost, we get a handy dandy rule booklet. It's about 1 page, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. It's really well done. It should have you up and running in no time at all. Very simple to learn game, and I can probably teach you how to play right now. Also, we have a multiplayer's rules guide if you decide to combine 2 decks, or the original deck and this one. And it has a free-for-all and Hunter mode, Emperor. I haven't got a chance to play all of them, but I will say I like Hunter the best, the ones that I have played. That's where you can only attack people on your left or your right, and I like that mode a lot. And this game really does scale well when you add numerous decks, so I did want to mention that because I didn't mention in the pros and cons. So, Star Realms is your typical deck builder game. You're going to start off with a set amount of cards, generally. You're going to have money, and you will. You're going to start off with 8 of these little coin cards right here, and 2 of these damage cards right here. You're going to shuffle those up, and this is the beginning of your deck. What you're trying to do is you're trying to defeat your opponents by knocking them completely out of the game by removing all of their health points. Some people like these, some people don't. I personally am a big fan of these, but these are going to keep track of your health. So you'll start with X amount of points, depending on which game mode you're playing. Those will go in front of you. You have your deck of 10 cards right here, and then you're going to draw 5 of those cards out. So I'll just show you how the game is played, then we'll get into some of the cards, and we'll talk about some of the cards that I really enjoy from the expansion. So, let's see what we got. We start off, we actually have 5 coins. Now, when you first start the game, the first player is only going to get 3. And then from that point on, everyone is going to draw 5. So I did want to mention that. But we're just going to start to hit the ground running. We've got 5 coins. We lay it out in front of us. And then we're going to take a look at what's in the buy row. So right now, we've got 5 cards in the buy row that will be changing. And also, we have the explorers right here, which are always going to be there most of the time. They will be worth 2 coins. They cost 2 coins. And if you ever decide you don't want it in your hand, you can trash it and get the 2 coins and do 2 damage, which is a viable option sometimes. So let's take a look at some of the cards we have out here to purchase, and we'll go over the different kinds of cards in the game. So there are going to be cards that are horizontal and cards that are vertical. Vertical cards are going to be ships. These are cards that you will play from your hand. You'll do whatever effect is on the card, and then they will go back into your discard pile with the rest of your cards. On the other hand, you also have some of the horizontal cards right here, which are going to be ships. When you purchase them, they will go into your discard pile. Eventually, they will come back into your hand. You'll shuffle them back up, and you'll be like, ooh, I have a ship in my hand. Or I have a base in my hand, not ships. And when you get this, you will play it like this in front of you. This means you have a base that is protecting you and also giving you a persistent ability. So this particular base, as long as it's in front of us, is going to give us 1 coin. Every single time we start our turn and no one has destroyed this, it will go in front of us and gain us 1 coin. Also, it could potentially help unlock special abilities on the bottom of other cards, and I'll tell you about that a little bit more in a second. So there's 2 kinds of bases that you're going to come across. You're going to come across bases that are not outposts like this, and bases that are outposts like that. So if you have this base in front of you, and your opponent does 4 damage, they can either do 4 damage directly to you, directly to your health points, or they can decide to destroy this base by taking 3 of that damage, destroying that, and then taking 1 of your health points. So it's an option to attack this one. Highly recommended option most of the time, but still an option. On the other hand, they're what are called outposts. An outpost is going to say outpost on it. This is a 4-cost outpost, and every turn it's going to give you 2 coins, and whenever you play a Star Empire, aka a yellow card, you're also going to gain 2 damage. But anywho, an outpost, they have to attack this before they can attack your health points. So for instance, if they're only doing 3 damage, they cannot destroy this, and they do 0 damage to you, and they do 0 damage to any of your bases. So it's nice to have the outpost out there because they will protect you. Now in the game, in this deck, there are going to be 4 different colors of cards. So we'll go over the 4 different colors of cards real quick. There we go. We're going to have red. Now, red primarily are going to allow you to trash cards from your hands. you may scrap a card in your hand or discard pile. This means you are going to be able to get rid of a card out of your hand for the rest of the game. Now you're saying, why would you want to do that? These are good cards, right? No, as you progress through the game, these are going to be very poor cards. So for instance, if you had this card in your hand, you could play this, and you could scrap this card. It would be out of the game forever, which means now your deck has gotten better because you have one less weak card in it. Now, also, on your turn, if you happen to play another red card, or you have a red base in front of you, you're going to be able to unlock this special ability down here too, so destroy target bases. So generally, this game is all about trying to build that synergy, getting cards of the same color together so you can unlock the maximum potential. Likewise, we'll take a look at the blue cards. The red cards are all about scrapping cards. The blue cards are all about giving you health, letting you heal. So for instance, this card is going to give you 2 coins and 3 damage when you play it. It's going to cost you 3 when you purchase it. But if you happen to play this along with another blue card, you're going to gain back 4 of your health, which is a pretty big deal, especially considering if you play it with another blue card, you might be gaining even more health. So you play these 2 cards together. Let's take a look at this. If you had both these in your hand, you're going to have 5 coins. You're going to gain 8 health. You're going to do 3 damage. And if you trash this card, get rid of it permanently, you can destroy a target base, which, as we mentioned, are these guys right here. The next type of cards you're going to encounter are going to be yellow cards right here. Now, yellow cards are going to allow you generally to draw cards into your hand or make your opponent discard cards. So let's see if we can find a couple good examples here. So for instance, what's this guy do? If your opponent controls a base, gain an additional 2 damage. Target opponent discards a card. So for instance, if you have 2 of these cards in your hand at the same time, your opponent would actually discard 2 cards. So these ones can be very powerful in forcing your opponent to discard cards or for you to draw cards. The last kind of cards you're going to encounter are going to be green cards. And generally, these cards are all about damage. They bring the pain. So let's take a look. This Leviathan, it costs 8, which is very, very expensive. But it's going to do 9 damage. You draw a card, and you may destroy a target base. So this is a fantastic card to have. In fact, 8 cards are the most expensive cards you're going to run into in the game. If you happen to have 2 green cards in your hand, you're going to be able to acquire a card of cost 3 or less for free and put it into your hand immediately, which means you can play it immediately. Very useful ability. But anywho, on your turn, you are going to purchase cards, and when you purchase a card, another card will immediately come up. You'll do damage to your opponent, discard your hand, draw 5 new cards, rinse, wash, and repeat. Now, one other thing I forgot to mention is that I said people can destroy your bases. If they destroy your bases, they're not out of the game permanently. They go into your discard pile. Eventually, they'll come back up, and you can put them back out. Anywho, you're going to continue to do that until someone runs completely out of health, at which point the person who still has health will be the winner of Star Realms. So now I'm going to go over some of the new cards, if you're looking at this as an expansion, that I particularly like. So for instance, we have the Stealth Tower right here. Until your turn ends, Stealth Tower becomes a copy of any base in play, your opponent's or yours. Very useful. Stealth Tower has that base's faction into addition to Machine Colt. So this, in theory, if your opponent had a green base out, could be a green and red card and use their ability. So if your opponent had this card out, you would be able to use the special ability down here, and this would count as both a red and a yellow card. Next, we have the Warning Beacon. This one only costs you 2. It's got 2 outposts, so a very low outpost. It's going to do 2 damage, and when you acquire this card, if you played a Machine Colt, a red card this turn, you may put this card directly into your hand. So you'll actually be able to put this directly into play. Very useful. Next, we got a big 8 cost card, so you know it's going to be good. This one is really good. One of my favorite new cards from the deck. This is going to do 8 damage. It allows you to draw a card, target opponent discards a card, and when you acquire this card, if you played a Star Empire card this turn, you may put this card directly into your hand. So if you've played a yellow card already this turn, and you pick this up, boom, you get to put it in your hand and play it. Very useful. We have the Aging Battleship, another card I really like, does 5 damage. If you have a yellow with it, you can draw a card, but if you trash it, you get to draw 2 cards. So if you have a yellow card in your hand and you have this card in your hand, you have the potential to draw 3 cards just from this if you're willing to destroy it. It can be a game winner. Last but not least, one of my favorite cards in the game as well, the Parasite. It's going to do 6 damage or acquire a card of cost 6 or less for free. Which can be very useful, especially if you can get this early on. Also, if you stack it up with another green card, you're going to be able to draw another card. But let's take a look at some of the different cards that you're going to be included in this standalone / expansion. But let's see what I think about Star Realms Colony Wars. Alright then, Star Realms Colony Wars from White Wizard Games. So what are my final thoughts? Let's go to the pros, let's go to the cons. Before we get started, I do want to mention Star Realms is one of my top 40 games of all time. I love the original game, so I came into this with very high expectations. So, first on the con side, it does feel samey, you know, it definitely feels like they added a couple new things here or there, but they didn't go crazy, you know, like with the Dominion expansions, when you get a new expansion to Dominion, you can expect something brand new, like a new mechanism that they just really crammed into that box. This, not so much. Yeah, there's some little things here or there where you'll be able to pick up cards and immediately put them in your hands, and some other stuff like that, but it doesn't feel like it's a brand new game. It just feels like it's more of the same, which is a good thing and also a bad thing at the same time. Also, they kept with this little tuck box, which I damaged mine just trying to open the stupid thing, but I understand the necessary evil that is because they want to keep this at a bargain bin price point, which it is. You get this thing for like 14, 15 bucks, which is fantastic. Other cons I have of the game, if you didn't like the original Star Realms, I don't think this is going to change your mind much. It's still a very similar feeling game. Also, it is 2 players if you just have this box, so it has a very restricted player count. Granted, when you have, say, the original and this one, you can go up to 4 players, which I do recommend doing, but I'll talk more about that in the pros. Any other cons I have with this one? You know, it didn't amaze me as much as the first one. When I got the first one, I was just blown away at the simplicity, but at the same time, the complexity and the depth of the game, and how much I enjoyed trying out different combinations of cards. And just something about this one didn't light my fire as much as the first game. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm going to glow about how great this game is and how I highly recommend it at the end of this, but it just didn't recreate the original feel I had with the first Star Realms, and I don't know why. I really didn't. I wondered if maybe the cards were a little bit too overpowered compared to the first one, so I went back and I compared some, and no, they all seem to balance out pretty well. One thing that I did notice that I wanted to mention was the fact that I don't like how they do the red cards in this version of the game. So the ones that, generally the scrapper cards, the ones that will let you get rid of cards in your hand. In the original one, they all pretty much said you can scrap something out of your hand or your discard pile. This one you have to pay a little bit more attention because some will say you can only scrap cards in your hand and some will say you can only scrap cards in your discard pile. And I do feel like the red cards in the original game are better than the ones in this game, but at this point I'm splitting hairs because let's go over to the pros. And the pros are Colony Wars is a fantastic expansion to add if you're a fan of Star Realms, and it's a fantastic standalone game if you're looking for a great deck builder. Now, with that being said, which one would I recommend? Do I recommend this or do I recommend the original game? I still think I like the original game a little bit better. I like the cards better in the original game, but with that being said, this is not a bad game to check out at all, especially if you are a Star Realms fan. So, Colony Wars, what did I like about it? You know, I like what new things they did add. I like having more cards. It's just as simple as that. I really enjoyed the base game. And what I love about this game, as opposed to some other deck builders, a la Trains or Dominion, is that it has a very quick setup and tear down time. You know, you just gotta shuffle up all the cards, deal out the beginning cards, and boom, you're ready to go. Whereas in Dominion, you might have to create a deck. You're like, all right, we'll use this set of cards and that set of cards and this set of cards. And then when you're done, you have to put them all back in the box in particular spots in the box, and you might have numerous different boxes. Not the case with this game. I like it. It's one of my favorite portable, compact games. It's a fantastic 2-player game. It's a fantastic deck builder game. So, in the end, Star Realms Colony Wars, I don't think it's as great as its big brother, but that being said, it's still a fantastic game and it's still a must-own expansion if you are a Star Realms fan. So that is Star Realms Colony War from White Wizard Games. I can't really say too much bad about it, aside from the fact I think I like the original just a little bit better. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know, what is your favorite deck building game? For me personally, I still got to go with the Granddaddy Dominion. And the main reason is there's just so many cards. There's so much expansions. If I had one game with all of its expansions on a desert island and say I had 4 people, there's no doubt in my mind Dominion would have to be on that list just because of every single time you could play 1,000, 10,000 probably different games with different combinations of cards, and I like that aspect of the game. Star Realms, unfortunately, I could not say the same, but still a great game. And let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite deck building game? And if you don't like deck builders, let me know why you don't. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.